Hello everyone, my name is Linda Armstrong. In Mississippi, a childhood study on obesity was done. An 8-year-old girl was 205 pounds. The little girl wanted to lose weight. She said, and I quote, "Because I don't want to move the earth to move." She said, while playing jump rope, the kids respond to the little girl's weight by saying, "When I jump rope, the children said it feels like an earthquake." Obesity among minority youth is at epidemic proportions. Researching the data, I have come to agree with the experts and their findings that minority families need to be educated on healthy nutrition and include physical exercise in their daily regimen. And schools need to require students to take classes that teach nutrition and demonstrate the importance of physical activity. The main points discussing today will be problem, which is the rising amount of obesity and diabetes among minority youth, the cause, which is the poor habits, and the solution, which is educating the parents and children. Throughout the years, obesity and diabetes have been a growing epidemic, especially in minority youth. Studies show that obesity and diabetes occurs more often in African and Hispanic Americans. According to the Center of Disease Control and Prevention CDC, 30% of all kids 6 to 19 are overweight. The CDC says more than 33% of Hispanic boys, 35.7% of African American boys, 30.1% of Hispanic girls, and 46.4% of African American girls are obese. In Canton, Mississippi, the Cardiovascular Risk Reduction in Children Committee, CRRIC, conducted tests on 250 students in grades 3, 4, 5 in Jackson, Mississippi. They discovered that 39% of the boys and 49% of the girls were in 85th BMI, which is body mass index. The body mass index is a measure of body fat based on height and weight that applies to adult men and women. 173 7th graders, 49% of Hispanics, and 51% African Americans had body mass index of 85%. Evidence demonstrates the severity of this problem in the minority youth community. According to the CDC, one study showed that childhood obesity often leads to adulthood obesity, which down the line leads to type 2 diabetes. According to the Children's Health Insurance Program, CHIP, childhood obesity can lead to bigger problems such as heart disease and asthma. Now that we have seen the problem, we can find out the causes. There are 4 major causes. The first cause is poor eating. CDC reports say, and I quote, 51% of children and teens eat less than 1 serving of fruit per day, and 29% eat less than 1 daily serving of vegetables that are not fried. According to the American Diabetes Association, Hispanic American youth partake in less dieting, physical activity, and have a higher fat intake compared to African American youth. The second cause is lack of exercise. According to the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, 26% of American children, 33% of Hispanic, and 43% of African American watch at least 4 hours of television per day and were less likely to engage in physical activities. According to CDC, inactive role models such as parents or caregivers play a big role and example to minority youth. The third cause of obesity in minority youth is the parents' lack of interaction or poor models. According to the California Health Interview Survey, SITCH, 48% of adolescents' parents drink soda and eat fast food at least once a day. President and Chief Executive Officer of the California Endowment, Robert K. Ross, says, and I quote, "While parents are the primary models for their children and their behavior can positively or negatively influence their children's health, it is also essential that local officials representing low-income communities work to expand access to fruits, vegetables, and other healthful foods." The fourth cause of obesity is the rise of lack of education. The National Manager of the Outreach Program for Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, JDRF, and Andre Hoke, quoted, "I wouldn't say that it's necessarily challenging to educate parents of children with diabetes, but it's probably more difficult for parents to find information on the life stages their child with type 1 diabetes goes through. professor in the School of Nursing at the University of Mississippi Medical Center, also the founder of the university's Cardiovascular Risk Reduction in Children Committee, CCRIC, David says, if you educate and support them, they'll form that groundswell that will demand changes. Now that we have seen the problem and its causes, we can finally look at the solution. There are 4 major steps that we can take to solve the problem. First, we need to educate the parents so that they may pass their knowledge on to the children. David's professor in the School of Nursing at the University of Mississippi Medical Center and founder of University's Cardiovascular Risk Reduction in Children Committee, CCRIC, said, we knew that intervention was indicated, and unless we intervene in these kids, we're going to follow their families into poor health. By educating the parents, the kids will receive constant reinforcement at home to eat healthier. Second comes the educating of the kids at school about the rewards of healthy eating and regular exercising. According to the CDC, 47 out of 52 states are requiring students to take more health and physical education classes. School menus are created by nutritionists who offer more healthy items on the menu, such as vegetables, fruits, and etc. Third is equipping schools and families with the ADA software. Now, I bet you're wondering what that is. The ADA online software simulation gives families detailed information and allows them to experience through an almost virtual reality program 40 different blood glucose scenarios and the outcomes of diabetes when they retrieve it. You can download the program in schools for free and email the link to families for them to download and utilize the information to stop the process or stop the continuation of diabetes. In conclusion, if eating and exercising habits don't change within minority youth, then many will have serious health complications before the age of 20. Not all the parents and kids will listen, but we have to at least try. One life can influence the change of many others. My idea on the surface is simplistic, but it will take hard work. I am sure that the little 8-year-old girl that weighed 205 pounds will be willing to try lifestyle changes so that when she jumps rope, the earth doesn't move anymore. Thank you.
Thank you. That was about 7